some people listening who have felt that tug. They know maybe they want to move in a way that feels more meaningful to them, whatever that looks like, because you've said that that's got a lot of shapes. It seems like there might be two different group camps of those people, at least probably a dozen. Those who want to find that or need to find that meaning in their current role. And I love the example that you gave of, okay, then be a great manager who makes the lives of all of your team better because of the kind of team you build. I mean, that's a great example of creating meaning, regardless of what the mission of my organization is. I am still creating meaning. So we've got that. I need to do it within the job. And then I think we have people who are like, I've got a side hustle idea here that is really where my meaning comes from. And I want to talk to both of those groups. Let's start with the ones that are probably going to stay in current role. Mm-hmm. What are ways to create, are there other ways to create meaning and stay right where I am today?
Absolutely. So for the first group that sees a pathway to creating more meaning on the job, a lot of this distinction between social impact and more conventional careers dissolves upon close scrutiny. It's really all about finding different ways to make a positive impact on other people and having those contributions be recognized, right? So sometimes Middle Turtle uses the language of social impact or social entrepreneur, but it's not at all necessary. And there are many ways of being entrepreneurial within a job, right? So again, entrepreneurship, we think of as leaving a job to start a company, that sort of administrative process of forming your own company. I tend to think of it more as a mindset. And so to give an example of how you might create meaning by being entrepreneurial on the job is to start testing hypotheses, basically, right? So for me, building Middle Turtle is not so much about the mechanics of starting a company or calling myself CEO. It's about exploring different hypotheses and testing them, right? Any business is this bundle of ideas with different strands that you can pull apart and pick apart and test and improve over time. And that process is entirely available to you within a job that you like well enough to put forth more effort into, right? So it could be that you have an idea for how to be a better manager. It could be that you have an idea for how the business can do something better. And you can push yourself to start thinking like an entrepreneur, building those mental habits of distilling the big idea into a set of testable hypotheses, socializing them, testing them, refining them. All of that feels very rewarding. And in many ways, it's a lot more comfortable to do it within a job with more structure than actually starting your own company, right?
Absolutely. Let's imagine that I have this great dream of what I want to do with my life, but in reality, that dream doesn't make any money, and I got a family to support today. I need to stay in the job that I'm in. Give that listener some ideas on how to persist in the reality that they're in for right now.
Right. And I think the situation you described is probably characteristic of more people in our economy than the other situation of having the flexibility financially and otherwise to take on a big risk. You can't just declare that, oh, sorry, I care about innovation or social impact now, so I'm not paying my mortgage, right? People have obligations, and that's completely understandable. I think when you feel like stuck has a negative connotation, but let's just say there's a hard constraint in the way you described. There's still more room to maneuver than people might think if you zoom out and think of your career as a piece of what you're really optimizing for, which is the life you're building, right? Mm-hmm. So when I myself have felt that pinch of wanting to do something but not being able to, for me, it generated a lot of negative feelings. And I think in hindsight, I would have approached it and looked at it differently. So as long as that broader project of making a contribution through your life to people around you, whether that's family, your community, friends, coworkers, or something kind of more um, scaled, for lack of a better word. All of those are perfectly legitimate options. And um, even if you have a hard constraint in one area of your life, there's probably compensating freedom in other areas of your life. If you have time to develop a hobby or volunteer on a nonprofit board, which is how you and I met, or even within a job that has some challenging aspects to it, finding different ways of coping, relating to people, and improving the culture of your organization. There doesn't need to be more than that, basically. And so a lot of the recommendations for people in that situation is actually to let go of the pressure to do something that would we feel like is more legacy defining, right?
Yeah.
That your legacy is secure as long as you're, a person who shows up and tries to make the world a
Mhm.
better place in whatever large or small ways are available to you that day. I think that's enough. And sometimes the resentment can set in when people aren't willing to accept that that's enough, that they feel like there has to be this bigger thing that they bring into the world.
Yeah, I love that. Let go of the pressure of this legacy career. Instead, just show up, make the people around me right here in my existing role make life a little better for them, or make the people that that paycheck is supporting, make their life a little bit better, and
Right.
call it a day. Say this is a pretty good gig right here. My work here is done. I like that.